QuesoDivas or newcomers, welcome to my channel. For the next 10 days, I'm going to be recapping my top 10 worst dates of 2025. I did this last year on TikTok in 2024. I didn't even look. How many first dates did I have last year? First video, I say how many dates I went on in the year, and I just counted how many dates I went on in 2025, and I want to see if it's similar or not. So let's find out together. I have been on 73 dates in 2024. You guys won't believe it. My number for this year is 74 dates. No way. Okay, so I did one more this year than last year. Still single. I'm a serial first dater. I love going on a first date, and I have high standards to make it to a second date. Usually they just don't make the cut to the second date. I will say this year I have been a lot better at filtering prior to going on the date. Therefore, less trauma this year. But of course, I had some absolutely horrific ones, so we're gonna recap them. Also, my phone case matches my dress perfectly. Is anyone gonna mention that? I'm going to a holiday party after this. I'm using this as my pregame, and I think this will just be a fun way to recap my year, sitting down for the next 10 days and talking through my year with you guys. This date. All right, so this man, we're gonna call him Beefy 5-layer burrito, and we can give him a long name because we're not going to say it often, and this is a first one and done situation, so I never saw him again, never talked to him again. So this guy is a Hinge match. I think all of these guys are from Hinge. Hinge really just breeds like the worst men you'll ever meet in your life. I'm New York City based, by the way. Oh, if you couldn't tell, the elephant in the room. So this guy was from Hinge. He had that like infamous photo. If you've been on New York City Hinge, you know this, where he has a photo of him with a mic at like the comedy club or something like that, like on stage at the comedy club, aka meaning that he's done a set, which is just like a ballsy thing to do. And if you're gonna do a set, you have to be funny. Like, you just have to be funny. Like, I can't even imagine myself getting on stage with a mic. Like, it's hard enough for me to do this on my couch right here. The mic is kind of getting to my head, you guys. Like, I get why the comedian guys like it. There's a photo with him on stage. Normally, this would turn me off, but he was pretty cute in these photos. And so I was like, okay, I could be down. I've only interacted with 2 comedians before in a romantic way. The first one I matched with on Hinge, he was from Austin, Texas. We were on our date. And I said something funny because, you know, I'm like having that witty banter on the date, and he pulls out his notes app and writes it down. And so that was a little like, I felt I was getting plagiarized in real life. I don't remember what I said either. It was like that irrelevant to me. And he was like, this is gold. But I mean, I get it. Mommy's working. He was a full-time like comedian. He said he was here for like a set or something, and he really wasn't funny. Like, he wasn't. And it was so weird. I've never run into like any of my dates after the time we go on a date. Like, I've never run into them in the wild, which is crazy. The next day, I'm walking on my street and I run into him. And he was like visiting. He was just like casually walking around. Like, we were both like, whoa, this is so weird to run into you. Anyway, never talked to him again. I mean, he lived in Austin. And then I don't like a guy with a social media presence either. And usually if they're a comedian, they're gonna have a social media presence. I want a guy to have like 30 followers and like maybe a few photos that I can like look at, but they're old. Yeah, second interaction I didn't even end up going on the date with. So this was my third interaction with a comedian in a romantic setting. I don't have much faith in the future of comedy after this date. I'll give you that. Out of the 74 dates I went on this year, I think only 3 guys were funny. One of my worst story times in the 10 worst dates is about one of these funny men, and then there's 2 others. This guy didn't make that list. Match on Hinge, he has this comedian photo. I'm like, okay, he must be a little bit funny then. And he's hot. So I'm like, okay, let's go on the date. I walk up to the date. It's at this fancy cocktail bar near me that I've been wanting to go to. I'm like pretty excited to go. I walk in. He's wearing like an Aztec jacket, like one that looks like it would be like Hot Topic in like 2015. I'm like, whoa, time capsule. Okay, weird. Right off the bat, first impressions, I'm not loving the outfit. He's not as cute in person, which is always a disappointment, which also rarely happens. I feel like guys are usually cuter in person. This man, he was not. So we sit down at a high top. I also just hate a high top. I'm very specific on where I want to be sitting during first dates. A high top is just not one of them. We were right next to the door, so people just kept coming in and like standing next to us, but this was just the table that he got. Okay, whatever. At least it's a table. I sit down, and you know when you sit down on a first date, like immediately there's awkward conversation. You're trying to just like get the combo started. It's like start the engine, like vroom, vroom. Like a plane taking off. That first 5 minutes is the most crucial. You know, when a plane takes off and it's like if the plane's gonna explode, it's gonna be within the first 5 minutes, or if there's a plane crash. It's like that. If this plane might crash in the next 5 minutes. I didn't even get to know if my plane took off safely because I have a waitress walk up to me and say, "What do you want to drink?" And this was a fancy schmancy bar where they have like sour cream in the drink and like a cottage cheese drink and like a Greek yogurt drink. You know how they're just throwing dairy in there now? I'm like, what's going on with that? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to need a second. And I have no problem with telling a waitress I need a second because I usually do. And I'm like, I also just walked in. I'm like, oh my God. So she's like, no worries, walks away. I keep like trying to start the engine because it's just not going. I just can't get past the Aztec print. Aztec print is in like the same category as like that Galaxy print, like just as ugly. I'm once again about to take off. Another waitress walks up and says, "What do you want to drink?" And I also didn't like that he wasn't shutting this down. I think maybe he already knew what he wanted to drink because he did tell me immediately, "Oh yeah, I've been here before on another date," which I also hated. I'm like, I'm your first love. This is your first date. You do not talk about any other women other than me this entire time that we're together. Thank you. Once again say, oh, I'm gonna need a second, like haven't even taken a look at it, like literally just got here, like yeah, but like still being nice and stuff. Yeah, no problem, walks away. At this point I open up the menu. I'm like, okay, wait, let me lock in for a second, let me figure out what I want to get. Each drink has like an encyclopedia of ingredients. I'm like, what the fuck, how can they put all this in? Like, the manager or like a man in a suit walks up, grabs the menu from me, closes it and says, what are you getting to drink? Like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, just tell me your vibes. Tell me your vibe. Like I'll give you a drink based on your vibes. Feeling I'm just like turned off by like this venue, this place that he chose, which granted it is like a highly ranked place and it was like a good idea. We also got like just a bad table, bad seat, and they were trying to get us out of there before we even sat down. That's the thing about New York City. If you go to these popular spots, they're like, go. We only have 30 minutes. It's like, I'm like rushing for what? I give him my vibes. He's like, okay, I'll bring you a drink. And I'm like just annoyed. I think he just gets like a basic like on the rocks, scotch, bourbon, you know, that like dark drink. Anyways, I'm flustered because of that whole situation. I take my pants off because I was just wearing the pants in that entire situation. And they leave. We start the conversation. We start talking. Important context leading up to this date. Our messages, few and far in between, were all about Taco Bell. It was kind of all we talked about. It was like, ooh, I love some late night Taco Bell. Ooh, I love some late night Taco Bell. Want to get a drink? Sure. Want to get Taco Bell after? Sure. This place was also not too far from me, and I'm not too far from a Taco Bell. And so I just kind of had that like, oh, as he walks me home, we'll walk by the Taco Bell. And so I'm like already thinking about it. I didn't like eat that much dinner. I'm feeling tiny. My drinks are going to hit, and I'm going to get my fucking chalupa. Hey, meal prepping shit is easy. So I started like bringing this up because like food is always on my mind. Food over drink any day, baby. And he's like, Taco Bell? Yeah, I've never been to a Taco Bell before. I guess this guy was a good comedian after all, because you gotta be joking me. What do you mean you haven't been to Taco Bell? Our messages were about Taco Bell, about going to Taco Bell together. And I say this, I'm like, wait, we had messages about going to Taco Bell together. And he's like, yeah, I'm like not really that interested in going to Taco Bell, like, because I haven't had it, but like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm not really like that. I just thought we were joking around. Like, I thought we were just like making fun banter. And I was like, I don't fucking joke about Taco Bell. Our freaks are not matched. You're in the Aztec. My rack's out. This is crazy. And he kept looking me up and down like I was a snack, and he was not cute enough to be doing that. And he's like, he just made me uncomfortable. He was also born and raised in New York City, and anytime that happens, ladies, run for the hills. Run for the hills. Every single New York City born and raised man I've met has been some of the worst people I have ever met. They are all Peter Pans. They all treat women terribly. Ugh, they're just pigs. Guy isn't funny, has never been to Taco Bell. He's super boring. He grew up in New York City, super like into himself, full of himself. Says that he loves like the writing process of comedy. And I'm like asking him over and over again, like, tell me a joke. Like, what is your set about? Like, what is your comedy set about? Like, because he said that he's all about the writing. He's like, I don't even like being on stage that much. It's just about the writing. Can't give me one fucking line. Meanwhile, I'm spitting bar for bar. Give me a chalupa. Mama is so hungry. And martini comes over. It's not even good. It's just as bad as the conversation. The guy did me dirty. And not dirty martini. He just gave me some weird thing. And I was like, this is not my vibe. You did not match my freak. This place was also weird. You had to get 2 drinks. Like, it was a minimum spend of like $40, which I think is like, it's like 1.5 drinks, but like you're gonna get 2 drinks. And I'm not paying. I don't care. He picked the place. So I was like, whatever, minimum spend $500. So we're wrapped up with this date in probably like an hour. I'm 2 martinis deep, and it's also pouring rain outside, and he didn't bring an umbrella. Of course, your girl came prepared. I walked here. I have my umbrella. And he's like, okay, yeah, like, let's walk to Taco Bell now. And I was like, so you want to go to Taco Bell? And he was like, yeah, I just want to like spend more time with you. And I was like, okay, this is just kind of a ploy to like come back to mine, but not happening, buddy. I don't say this to him. But I was like, I do want to kind of be walked home. And my head's been turned. You said Taco Bell. After he said Taco Bell, I honestly tuned him out. So then we walked from the cocktail place to Taco Bell, sharing our umbrella, walk into Taco Bell. He was giving such cheapo vibes at the Taco Bell too. He wasn't even like, whatever you want, baby girl. He was like, what are the discounts? So I suggested the deluxe cravings box, which is honestly like my favorite thing to get at Taco Bell, because you get a chalupa, my world, you get a soft taco, and then you get the beefy 5-layer burrito. Call back, say my name, say my name. We get our deluxe cravings box. I immediately go for the chalupa. The chalupa is cold. The chalupa's cold. Probably one of the worst chalupas I've had from Taco Bell, which is super disappointing. Honestly, the beefy 5-layer burrito is my least favorite thing in the deluxe cravings box. So I was like, you can have that. And he has it, and he's like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, you need to have a bite. Like, because then we swap. I take a bite of this beefy 5-layer burrito. It's the best beefy 5-layer burrito I've ever had. And I gave it to him, because then he takes a bite of the chalupa and says, oh no, this isn't as good. I want that. And I was like, well, I want this now, because my chalupa is cold. And I only came here for the chalupa. And now I got to get my chalupa home. So then we quickly pack up, walk back to mine from the Taco Bell. It's at this point, I mean, it's still pouring rain. I'm like, sorry, buddy, you're going to have to go your own way. He walks me home. We start kissing, because even if I'm not feeling anything during a date, I do like to kiss at the end of it to see if there's any sort of spark. But this man was not coming inside. I was like, sorry, you're going to have to walk home in the rain. Like, I'm sorry, you came unprepared and I have an umbrella. And so he's like making out with me and like putting on all these moves. He has facial hair. I'm like not vibing with it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. And he's like, well, yo, will you like send me a pic? Send you a pic? More like you are a pig. What the? Exactly. When I said New York City men are pigs, this is exactly what I mean. He's like, yeah, just like send me a pic while you're getting ready for bed. I'm like, bro, I'm like I'm trying to ghost you right now. I'm trying to ghost you right now and you're asking me for a pic? No, I'm gonna be invisible right now, not send you a message with invisible ink. So I look at him and I say, absolutely not. I grab my umbrella. I leave him in the rain. I walk in the door. I walk up into my bed and I go to bed. Never to be talked to or spoken to ever again. Yeah, him and I have never texted each other again. Whew, yee doggy, that was a long one. That was number 10 of my top 10 worst dates of 2025. Beefy 5-layer burrito. You will be forgotten, because honestly, I had to jog my memory to remember this story, but it was a pretty bad date if I do say so myself. Tomorrow, I'll be back right here posting my 9th worst date of 2025. Stay tuned. I'll see you tomorrow.